Welcome, everybody, to The Big Show. Today, we're going to talk about a subject that is often misunderstood and we are misquoted, and that is, let's talk about video inspections and tablets. I know a lot of people think that we have a certain opinion on this, but we're gonna break it down. It's a pretty fun conversation that we have. I go on a little bit of a rant. Also, I don't even know how to prompt this. Christian's got some big news.
We got some big news. You know what else is big news?
Big news.
I had this friend once. He was an elf. And you know what? He couldn't pay his rent. You know why?
Why?
He was a little short.
That and much, much more coming up on this edition of Service Drive Revolution.
Are you looking at my jaw again?
No.
So it's that time of year.
What time of year is it?
It's my girl's birthday.
Jet skis?
Oh, almost jet ski time. I'm really excited about that.
Jet skis are going in for service.
They're just going to do a winterizing or de-winterizing? Do they de-winterize them? Clean out the...
Oh, I don't know. They just get an oil change.
Okay.
I don't think anything else happens. I'm so upset that they came out with a new one that has 25 more horsepower.
Yeah, you've said that to me a few times.
I don't think that it's a crazy idea to have 4 jet skis out there with having, like, when you come up, like, we can't all ride together. I'm certainly not going to ride on the back of a jet ski with you.
No, but what a great photo. What a great Polaroid moment that would be. Just you and me on a jet ski together.
Gosh, how scary.
That's a lot of man on one jet ski.
Yeah. You can technically put 3 people on there, right?
I don't think 3 of us would make it. I think 2 of us that jet ski.
No, like, but I think we had last year, we had 3 people on one. Girls, but.
Okay. So that would work.
But don't you think we need more jet skis? More horsepower?
Need is a strong word. Those
what do you want people to feel left out? Like if people come up there and then they have to wait for hours to ride a jet ski, like
I also do think like what would you do? Would you get like
it's a terrible host.
Would you get the 2 and 2 lift so you'd have 4 jet skis but like 2 right behind each other?
You mean the jet ski dock?
Yeah, the jet ski dock. Because you wouldn't want to go 4 wide,
just add them on there.
Would you?
You can just add them on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd go 4 wide. Why not?
I feel like that would take up that whole little area.
Nobody's using that area.
You and I walked in there, and it was frighteningly cold. I remember that to this day.
Yeah.
It was like the first cold plunge.
So this is how it's going down. The jet skis are going to go in for service. Then when they get picked up, the boat's going to go in. So he's going to drop off the boat and pick up the jet skis. How do you think that experience will go?
I would assume it's going to be a mess. But
yeah. But we've made the appointment. We've arranged it. Let's see.
I'm going to be cautiously optimistic for you that maybe they've got it together because you're not the only one to have jet skis and a boat. So that should be something they've had to do before. But we'll see what happens. And oil changes in that. Sometimes on boats, it's really messy. Have you seen oil changes done on boats before? Like the way that the oil drains out of the engine and the drain plug down at the bottom and all that, it's a watery, oily mess.
Yeah. Well, I think when I was a kid and we would change the oil in the boat, we just let it run on the dirt.
Yeah.
We didn't care. We actually thought it was good for the dirt because it kept the dust down.
Well, you're not wrong.
Did you ever do that?
No, it was always a bucket. But
when we would change the oil in a car, we would purposely spread the oil out on the driveway.
To kill the weeds.
No, to keep dust down.
Yeah, that too. But you'd also keep, when you have that driveway and that gravel driveway, like the weeds that go in the middle where the tires aren't. Yeah, the oil would kill that too, probably.
Can you imagine now? You'd get arrested.
Oh, you'd be public enemy number 1 straight away. That's good though. But yeah, so.
So you do agree that we need the bigger jet skis? Like what if the neighbors a couple houses down go and get the ones with the 325 horsepower?
Yeah, they're just gonna pull away from you 1/4 of a mile at a time. It's not gonna be that big a difference.
See, the problem is I think you're of the opinion that they're too fast already.
Yeah, they're really fast.
See, you're not the one I should be talking to.
No, you need somebody else that's a complete speed freak.
Yeah.
I'm only a moderate speed freak. Like I enjoy going 60 miles an hour on that thing, but I don't have to go much faster. Although to be honest with you, 6:30 in the morning on that lake, I bet 75 would be pretty fun.
It cuts out at 70.
Yeah, but the new ones, maybe they cut out at
No,
71.
they cut out at 70. You just get there faster.
Oh,
They have a governor on them.
that's even less of a reason to buy new ones.
What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You can undo the governor somehow, but I don't know. That voids the warranty.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, so
That's what I need. I need a friend that knows how to soup those things
you
up.
mean to tell me there's no one at that lake that could figure that out? I guarantee you there's someone there.
I need to make more friends.
Yeah. I'm not really good at making friends. That's a thing. But my girl's birthday is coming up, so I bought her a present.
Miss Claudia?
Yeah.
Let me guess.
Go ahead and guess.
Pair of shoes.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it romantic?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah.
Is it a trip?
No.
Okay. Give up. My next guess would be like lingerie or something inappropriate.
No. Oh, an engagement ring.
What?
Yeah, this is why I was looking for
Wait,
it.
you said you were never going to get married.
Yeah, I changed my mind. She's great. So,
You decided to announce this on the show that she listens to?
yeah, but I think that this is going to air right after her birthday. I think. If I've
Did
done
you
my
get
math
the
right.
ring?
Yeah,
Can I see it?
it's at home. You want me to bring it?
You didn't take a picture?
It's somewhere in my phone, probably. Yeah.
Well, let's see it. Get your phone. Do you not have a picture of it because she goes through your phone?
No, she doesn't. She could, but she doesn't.
How long did it take you to pick out the ring?
A little while. A little while. I did a lot of online shopping before I went to a store. But yeah. So I don't know
When did you make this decision?
A few months ago.
Can you walk us through the process? We're all kind of dying to understand how the guy who was never getting married again.
Yeah, that's super fair. So I think that I do want to say that I told you about this, where it was like I realized one day that like I was so against marriage that I started to recognize that that was the most closed-minded I could be. And just because I've had some failures with it doesn't mean necessarily that that it's going to be. Good Lord, I don't know where the hell this thing's at.
You didn't take a picture of it?
No.
Did you just walk in and point at one and buy it?
No, it's a little more than that.
You walked in and pointed at two and said how much, and then
Yeah, maybe.
did you do research?
Maybe 2 or 3, yes.
Did you buy it in the jewelry district?
No. But yeah, so
Okay, well, congratulations.
thank you very much. But I decided that it's okay for me to be open, and just because I've had 2 that didn't go well doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. That I would like to say that I'm a different, more evolved person than I was back then.
Didn't go well is a good way to
Yeah.
to play down the heartache and torment that you've endured.
So it was a rough go. But she's very different, and I'm very different than I used to be. So I think that it's a good time.
This is your first marriage to a Latina.
Yes. So that'll be fun. I'm sure a wedding would be bigger than I think that I'm comfortable
You're
with.
gonna weigh 300 pounds.
No, that's not going to happen.
Women, Latin women don't understand what carbs are. They think that when you say you're eating low carb, that means tortillas and tamales.
Yeah, so there's a thing with her that if you replace carb with organic, anything organic means that it doesn't have carbs in it, like fruit, right?
Right.
It's organic. There's no carbs in that.
Right. Yeah.
I just went running yesterday, and I'm getting to the end of a 6.2 mile run, and she's on the beach, right? So she does walking while I run, and then I catch up to her. She hands me that stupid cup of fruit that you buy from those vendors. It's amazing to me.
No carbs.
No carbs.
Because it's organic.
You know what else doesn't have carbs?
But I would guess that fruit isn't organic. Just a guess.
I don't know where it comes from.
Street vendor.
But
in
yeah,
LA.
so other organic non-carb things: rice, bagels.
You're gonna weigh 300 pounds.
She had
We're gonna have to get the bigger jet ski just so you can put around
just
the
for
lake.
me, not even for 3 people. It's just for me to go on there. But
He's a big boy. That's how
yeah.
they'll describe you.
but I'm really excited. I think this is this will be cool.
Yeah, she's great.
I haven't
You guys
even
make a good couple.
I haven't thought about a date, so I don't feel a rush.
Are you gonna have a wedding?
I think so. So she's never been married. She's had a relationship before, and they were going to get married, and they ended up not.
It's like a
but
church.
Yeah, that would be her. That would be her preference. But you have to save the date because you got to be my best man. You got to stand up for me.
Just let me know.
I will.
Just don't do it in Europe or something.
No. There will be no European.
I keep getting invited to weddings in other places, and it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that with me. It'll be
Local.
It'll be local.
That'll be fun.
I think that yeah.
Dress up.
What's that?
Dress up.
I would like to wear a tuxedo. I think I've never worn a tux for a wedding before, so I think that.
Have Cy make it for you.
Oh, I'm on that. Yeah, that would be great.
Do
And
like
then,
a nice pink or like baby blue.
No, baby blue is funny. I like that idea. But I also like the idea of like, no matter what. So that would be a rule with us, right? So as long as I can fit into my tuxedo, she can feed me whatever she wants. So I'll do it like that.
Oh, that's so funny.
But that's going to be fun. You want to talk about news?
Yeah. Well, that was news.
Yeah, so I was just for
I'm in
everybody.
shock.
Yes, for everybody at home, I saved this just for everybody so that you could see Chris's genuine reaction.
You know, when Captain Mr. X,
Yes.
he said he spoke very similar to you. Never again, not whatever, you know. And I would always say like, oh, we'll never say never. He meant it. Like, I don't know, he's going on 10 plus years. He hasn't even.
Nothing even close to serious. And I literally feel like he is such a great man. Like, I think he's robbing himself.
But I
of
felt the
that.
same way about you in the sense of, well, you know, never say never. No, I'm right. You know, and I was
I
like,
said that for a long time.
and I was kind of like, well, James meant it. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't. I kept thinking he would change, because he is very interested in females in that way. Like he's, you know,
Yeah, I think he would make a great husband. I just think he's such a sweet and
the
caring
last ex-wife hurt him too much.
So I hope there comes a time where he makes it through that. And I would say this has
But
been
you made it
interesting.
through pretty quick.
I don't know. We've been together for 3 years. So it took a long time for me to get to the possibility of the marriage. But I didn't rush that part.
It's great.
So I'm excited. You want to talk about news? So this is kind of interesting. It feels like it's following in Tesla's footsteps, but Jeep slashing a lot of prices. And I thought that I wanted to ask because you had the Gladiator, and they've now made it to that thing, that Gladiator you can get for under 40 grand,
Really?
which I'm going to guess is less than they had it when it was new.
So I think we paid 60, I think, for that one, but it was right below the Rubicon.
Yeah. So they lowered the price and also put in like $3,000 worth of a package, you know, like where they'll put in there with a Uconnect or something fancy on the inside. So really it's like they
make
added
that in
value.
a diesel now.
Well, I remember that your mom and Tim were thinking about getting one.
Yeah, they just couldn't. They had a recall and they couldn't say when they were going to sell it, so they bought a truck.
Yeah.
A Dodge diesel, which that truck is really nice. But
I think that
yeah, those Gladiator, I loved that thing. That was great.
The thing that was my favorite about that, you might not know this, you were almost always smiling when you were driving that thing.
You know why? Because I look like a redneck here in LA.
Yeah.
I play country music.
Like you had a joke that nobody else got.
Because this isn't truck country. People don't drive trucks here.
No.
It's very rare that you see Like people might drive trucks to work, but they're not pulling up to the valet at at the restaurant or the mall. And
Yeah.
I was cranking country music, and I would have put a gun rack in it if
If you kept
I
it for a
kept it
little
longer.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're always smiling. The only thing that I like that you've got the vehicle you have now, only because you fit in it way better. Like, do you remember how like the steering wheel on the Jeep was small for you? But the way that you fit into the driver's area on the Range Rover, it's your size.
Yeah, that Range Rover's nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
but you had fun driving the Jeep.
I do miss having a convertible though. I've been thinking lately, like I'd like a car.
I haven't pulled the top off for a little while.
I don't have anywhere to park it though. Could have to clear out my
clear
garage.
out the garage? Yeah.
I could, but
Yeah.
I got all my art stuff in there.
I think that people are not going to appreciate this conversation because they don't get it. But I love having my parking garage with my 2 spots. I think that is one of the
Such a
best things
city
about-
thing to say.
Yeah, very city thing to say. But like having covered gated parking is a big premium in Los Angeles. So I love that part. But yeah, it's about time to put the top off on that thing. All right, so they're lowering the prices on the Wrangler, the Gladiator, the Compass, and the Grand Cherokee actually is going to drop by $4,000. So I think that's really interesting that Jeep's doing that pricing strategy.
It's smart to get sales going.
Yeah, kind of following that Tesla thing.
It'll help the dealers.
Yeah, so my hope is they sell a bunch of them.
I'm surprised how much those haven't changed.
Yeah, so like a Cherokee or a Wrangler from 10 years ago looks almost exactly to what it is now.
Yeah.
One thing I do like is I don't remember if you and I have driven in one or not, but the Grand Wagoneers. That's kind of like their Tahoe size.
Yeah, but everybody that we know that services those says they're not great.
Yeah, so I've only had it as a rental and I loved it.
You can get the Macintosh stereo thing in there, which it doesn't sound that great, but it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they break a lot.
Okay.
And you don't see the market penetration on those.
No, I think that GM's done such a great job.
Man, that Suburban Z71 that I rented a few weeks ago, man, thing was nice.
I love those.
You just look like an Uber driver, though.
Yeah. I really, really like Escalades.
Yeah.
That's kind of been a dream vehicle of mine, but I wouldn't have one in the
I could
city.
see an Escalade.
All right, cool. And then Toyota is got kind of caught and slapped on the hand. It really hasn't been as big a news as I think it could have been, but they got caught cheating on diesel engine performance tests, which sounds a lot like who?
Mercedes, BMW, and Volkswagen.
Yeah. So Toyota got it, and this poor guy just looks so busted, doesn't he? He's just he is shamed.
It's weird because Toyota usually isn't on the wrong side of those sort of things.
Yeah. Plus, the diesel thing obviously is not United States because they don't have a lot of diesels running around the North America.
But in other countries,
but
they were
must have
fudging the numbers.
Yeah. So they got caught fudging the numbers, but it hasn't. I don't think it's affected them here at all. But it's interesting that.
It's interesting that there isn't a secondary check for those. Like
Yeah,
you leave it up to the manufacturers, like an honor system.
And now they've proven several times where the honor system's a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't.
There should be
this isn't new.
check and balance in place.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the news for today.
Okay. Let's talk about video inspections and tablets. So there is a perception out there that we don't like video inspections and tablets. And I think we've clarified this a few times, but there still is this perception.
Yeah, we should do it
because we're not culty and we're not all into it. That we're not preaching it every day. That the assumption is that we don't like them, and that has never really been what we've said. So I think that it's really important to understand the context. And there's a thing like, what is it that especially here at the office, like when something is said, what is the thing that is said about me in the, how do I explain this? In the area of fortune telling.
That you're always right.
Yeah. So there's this thing here, and like, if somebody disagrees with me, there's always this thing like they're like, well, I'm going to do it your way because you're always right. Like they usually, I have proven myself enough that I have credibility that I'm usually right. And it's not that I'm right because I am psychic.
Definitely not.
It's that I pay attention to one thing that most people don't pay attention to. And let me give you an example. Do you remember, I don't know if you were with Infinity at the time, but there was a time when BMW was endorsing MPI, the company MPI, which was the first version of digital inspections.
Yeah, which was a 75-page inspection. I remember that about it.
So what would happen with MPI, and God bless Les, who, started it, and, he's a great business guy. But you had a server in your dealership, and then you had this crazy color printer that you'd have to buy that would print the inspections. None of the software really worked in the sense of integrating with anything else in the way that you would want it to. But the whole idea was that we're going to do digital inspections that will force us to do them consistently. And we're going to bypass the service advisors and just email the inspection to the customers. And then the customers will buy more work because we're consistently doing the inspections and we are getting it to them right away. That was the idea, right? And so Les did a good job of getting a lot of manufacturers to buy into this. So
was it a requirement for BMW or no?
Well, have you ever dealt with the Germans?
Once or twice.
Is there a difference between a requirement and a requirement?
Not much. Point taken.
It's really a funny story. In the sense that no, they wanted 100% compliance whether it was working or not.
Yep.
And so at the time I had I remember being at the auto show here. So BMW used to do this like lunch at the auto show, press day, and they would unveil something. They don't even go to the auto show here anymore, but it used to be a big event. And I remember BMW had this agenda that all of their dealers were going to do this. The guy Gary was the guy. I won't say his last name, but it was some sort of like version of Six Sigma where you wrote out all of your systems, and then you had a master book. So you would close your dealership for days at a time. They would come in with these facilitators. You would write out all your processes, and then you would document them. And then the idea was it was a starting point for improvement, but also if somebody new started, they could go to the book, and this is how you write up a customer. This is how you file the books and the keys with a new car in a PDI. There's all these things. And so you're organizing your processes, and then you'd have an SOP for everything, basically. And I remember sitting, we were number one at the time in sales. So whenever something happened, we'd sit with the president of BMW.
Oh, sure.
So sitting there with the president, and the guy, that Gary guy, was at our table, and he was trying to get us, because, we weren't one of the better dealers, trying to get us to do this process. And there was a guy, his name was Dennis Assail. He was a car dealer, and he was funny. He was a car dealer, but he also was a part-time sheriff or whatever.
Oh, wow. I love it.
Funny guy. But he had a dealership in the Inland Empire. He doesn't anymore. He sold to Sonic, I think. But he's like, oh, it's great. And he's kind of jumping in with this Gary guy in front of the president of BMW about how great this process is. And I forget what the process is called, but it had a stupid name like the GCQ or QMS. Maybe it was called QMS, something like that. And he's like, oh, it's the greatest, blah, 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 blah. And to me, in these situations, the question I'm going to ask is logical. But as soon as I ask the question, I realize that it's like I've done something that in this country
how dare
that
you
I'm
ask?
unfamiliar
Yeah.
with is off limits. But it seems like the logical thing to ask, right? So
Yeah.
he says, we love QMS. We're doing it. We're all in or whatever, kissing the guy's ass. And then I said, and here's the thing that wasn't the appropriate question to ask. But you're shutting down your dealership. You're investing. You had to hire a special person to manage this. So you were adding another head to your head count. And, a lot of energy and focus is going into this QMS process. I asked Dennis, I said, how much has it improved your profitability? Like, is your profit up? And is your CSI up, your customer satisfaction? Yeah, it was about this quiet. Like, no. And then he looks at me and he goes, actually, our profit's down. And I go, what about your CSI? And he goes, I don't know. And he's like, kind of like trying to think, like, and I'm like, okay, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Like,
It's so funny.
like
It never occurs to anyone to think about measuring
does
results.
Anybody have any insight to the fact that the factory guys most of the time are just doing the thing they're told? They don't understand how to run a business. Like, they're doing the thing for the factory. Like, they don't, this doesn't make any sense, right? So jump ahead years later, I've got, I think it was 12 BMW stores in my kind of coaching thing, right? And the new agenda, these same people are sitting around the same table saying the same thing, but now it's not QMS, now it's MPI and digital inspections. Mm-hmm. And they do this thing where they're like, well, if you increase your hours per hour by half an hour, it'll mean this much money to you, blah, 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 blah. So you got to buy the server for a couple $1,000s. Basically, I think all in it was like $7,500 to $10,000 for the server printers. And then it was $5,000 a month, but half of that was co-opted by the manufacturer. So you were paying like $2,500 a month or something to that
Had
effect.
to be paying $2,000 in ink also.
Oh yeah, those things were garbage.
Yes.
Okay. So now those dealers that are the early adopters or whatever go all in on this thing. And then I had a couple clients that wanted to do it. And so I was like, well, let's wait and see. Meanwhile, I get, like, I don't know, within that year, right? We're talking about a year-long period. Within that year, I got a couple new clients that were the early adopters. So I'm looking at their financials and I'm like, oh, you're losing money. Your numbers are terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then when I got in those stores to try to fix them, they're like, oh, we're on MPI. And I'm like, well, how does this process work? Whatever. Well, it doesn't work because it gets stuck in parts. Like the techs don't want to do it because it takes too long. There's one computer in the shop. Like, they're sharing a laptop. Like, none of it, what is being sold and what is actually happening are two completely different things. Now, I would get rid of MPI, which sometimes you couldn't do. You just had to keep paying because you're under a contract or whatever. But I would get rid of it in the process, and our hours per hour would jump up. Meanwhile, a couple clients that wanted to do it tried it. So I had new clients coming in that were losing tons of money. Nobody was doing an inspection. It wasn't working. When they were emailing the customers these inspection sheets that were super colorful, but when a technician marked marginal, right? So let's just say they're looking at the belts. And the belts aren't bad. They don't need replaced, but they're not new. So they're marginal. They're in the middle.
Right.
It would quote that.
Yeah. Even if they're yellow.
So the customers would get these $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 estimates, and really they needed like $500 worth of it. but it was just quoting them everything, scaring them to death. The other thing it did is they would email this. The customer would have a shopping list. They would call somewhere else and they would say, oh, we can do it for less, or oh, you probably don't need that. Bring it in. They would take it into another shop, and then the shop would be like, why are you telling them they need belts? Their belts are fine. And it's like, well, no, we're marking them marginal. You could never recover from the fact that you would overextended, like, because right? There's no human touch. They see it and it says they need belts, and they're like, oh, I need belts. And it's not like, well, did you see that it's yellow? It's like, it was all
no
very,
tour guide.
and there's these cool, slick videos that explain what a water pump is and all this, none of which did any good. But anyways, the sales would go down whenever that would go in. And that's not a thing you're supposed to say. If you're in the German cult of BMW and their agenda is that, that's what they want, whether it's working or not, you better toe. It's a lot like COVID and
The
like
mask and
California.
the shot. Yeah.
Like, you better just don't question any of what we're doing. It's that, or you're a despicable whatever. Like, that's very much how it was with them. And so we kind of came to the conclusion that we were doing way better without the digital MPI thing. And so all my clients went off of it. We didn't have it. And so I got this group of BMW dealers that are performing at a very high level. They're all very profitable. They're making money. They're doing good. Their CSI is good, but they're not in the cults.
Right.
And so I get called into headquarters, and I've told this story before, and they light me up. You're the problem, blah, blah, blah. And I just said to the guy across the table, I said, what is the average net to gross for a BMW service department in this country? And he didn't know. And he said 1%, but he didn't know. I get it. I wasn't even gone there 10 minutes, and I got a text saying that wasn't the number, whatever. But the number wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
And my average service department was doing, 300 times that, or whatever the math is on that. And so what they decided to do, which was just as anticlimactic, is they were going to pick 3 of my stores randomly and do an audit and compare it to MPI stores. They lied about how they did that because they ended up comparing them to the top 8 MPI stores, but the top 8 MPI stores in the country were still only doing like 60% inspections. We were 98 or some crazy number.
using paper. Right.
Their average upsell, if I remember right, was like 250 or 300, and ours was like 700. We were killing them in every metric. And so the thing, or the reason why the perception is that I'm always right, is I'm asking the question that gets me closer to the truth quicker. I'm not as affected by people's culty, well, you can't say that, or you can't do that, or whatever. I feel obligated to be an ambassador for our clients, in the sense to tell them, what is working and what isn't, without any sort of biases or color in that sense, right?
Sure.
And if something's working, I'm going to tell you that it's working as much as if it isn't working. But to ask, did your profit go up, is like, it's not the thing to say.
Clearly.
Yeah. And so I don't think that it's that I'm always right. It's just that I'm asking the right questions, and I'm looking at the end result. So we think when we do tablets and we do video inspections, the assumption is, and the way this is sold in our industry, is it's a magic pill.
Right.
But if you do video inspections, all of your problems are going to be solved. And when I say, or we say, that if you can't do it with paper, you can't do it digitally, what we mean is it's not a magic pill, because if you don't have the process in place to do it with paper, you're complicating it. Because the other thing is, when you think it's a magic pill, you don't understand that, for example, doing video inspections is a different model. It's a different system, a different process than doing paper, right? In the sense that now your advisors aren't the one presenting the work, your tech is. So now the advisor plays a different role in that. You're completely bypassing a part of the system, but most people, they're not changing their systems because it's, oh, well, if we just do it, it'll work. And that isn't true. Like if you're just doing the digital inspection, you actually run the risk of your sales going down, like with MPI, because you're scaring people away. You're assuming that technicians, like, look at me when I took my Rover in. What happened with the video inspection? They sent me somebody else's vehicle, which that one was out of warranty and older. It needed a bunch of work. But think about that if you're not in the industry and you get an older vehicle that needs all of that work, what do you think about your vehicle? Like there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And if you don't run tight systems in the beginning, plugging something like that in and assuming it's a magic pill creates more problems than it solves. And we have this thing in our industry where we think, oh, if we just had tablets and we got customers in and out faster, then they'll be happy. Ends up that tablets most of the time make your sales go down. And I know a lot of companies out there that have invested a lot of money in designing tablets, but I've yet to go into a store. Nobody's ever been able to show me. They allude to it. The guys who sell the tablets allude to it, but nobody's ever been able to show me proof that the sales go up when you put tablets in place. Most of what I've seen when tablets are in place is the advisors stare at the tablets and your sales go down. And there's this thing that happens, and we've tried it, both ways, with and without the tablets. We don't throw these opinions out there loosely. Like, there's a magic to separating the customer from the vehicle, sitting them down and going over what's going to be done versus doing it all staring at an impersonal screen in the drive, thinking that they just want to get out. And what customers are saying when they're in a hurry and they want to get out is that they don't like us and the environment's uncomfortable. When we fix the environment and we grow our capacity in the shop so we can actually get vehicles done in a appropriate amount of time, that does more for the process than the imaginary idea of a tablet. Most of the time the tablets don't work. There's so many issues technically with them too that it's not a magic pill. It's a completely different process that you have to build your business around, right? It's like, take for example, Russell Wilson is a good example of this. If you are you're the general manager of an NFL team, and you have a certain sort of offense designed around, let's say, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
And you go and you plug Russell Wilson into that, how's that going to work?
It's not going to work.
Why?
Because Russell's a different quarterback than those two.
Yeah, and Russell is about improvising and swinging out of the pocket. Aaron Rodgers and Brady get rid of the ball quick. It's about little passes, little wins, consistently just chipping away. Where Russ is the bomb, or it's a mess. It's chaos. It's less consistent, right?
Right.
And so when we put video inspections in or we put tablets in, you have to build your business around those. You have to change your processes, and it's not a magic pill. And so, the great thing about some of these systems is the reporting is really good, tracking, but it's garbage in, garbage out. And so when we're talking about tablets, when we're talking about the video inspections, the thing that we do as an industry is we're like, well, hey, we're not very good at doing it with paper. Let's get this new thing, and that's going to be the thing that's going to solve it. But it ends up, the fact that you don't understand how to implement systems, you don't manage systems, you don't even see it as a system, you're just leaving it to chance, is more catastrophic when you keep thinking that there's a magic pill and you can just buy this software that's going to fix all your problems. And it doesn't.
Right.
And then nobody wants to talk about how your sales go down. They keep saying, well, if we did this, our sales would go up. If we did it, but we're not doing it. And it's like, Yeah, but you could do it with paper too.
Yeah.
And so it's not that we don't believe in those things. It's just the way that they're used and the way that we're not judging them on actual outcomes. We still are back to we keep hearing now over and over again, like we need more traffic. Like we heard that
Recently.
What did they sell? Like, I don't know, let's say 3 alignments in a month. And they're talking about they need more traffic. It's like, no.
You got to do more with what you got in there. Yep. Yeah, that's funny. So some of the stuff I've written down very, very similar to what you're at. And
My little rant.
Yeah, it was a good rant. I would say that there's a couple of things there. One is that I've got stores that are really committed to making the video thing work. And I would say that probably the best piece of advice you gave there is that don't try to make videos work in your old system. Like that first is first and foremost. But the thing that I wrote down that kind of mirrors what you're saying, I wrote down, it is rarely the cause or the solution to your problems.
Yeah.
So I think that the thing that you have to identify is that that what got you to say, oh, geez, we need videos, is that you're upset with the results of your current inspection process. So,
you know what a perfect example of this is?
I can't wait.
The Hunter alignment check machines.
Sounds awesome.
By far and away, our clients that sell the most alignments do not have a Hunter alignment machine.
Or if they do, it's not plugged in.
Most of the time, that thing's a paperweight after 90 days.
Yeah. And it's so unfortunate because it sounds like something that should work, right? So
once again, it's a magic pill. So the manager's like, hey, when I get this thing, all of a sudden our sales are going to go up. They don't, and they're just on to the next thing. Well, now we need video inspections. And it's like we keep trying to buy gimmicky things that in the end, you don't need it. Like it isn't going to make that big of a difference.
Yeah.
If anything, you're just changing the subject from actually getting results.
For sure. And then that's what I also had written down here is that if you're going to install a new thing, DMS, X time, video inspection, I always say like work from the outcome backwards, right? So where are we at now versus where do we want to be? And then that has to be the bridge to the gap. So you have to set an expectation of what that's going to be. Then there's one thing that I think that service managers are not good at that they need to get better at is what I call propaganda. And the thing I wrote down was it's the economy, stupid, from the war room. Yep. So you have to control the narrative. So if you're doing video MPIs every day and you have a couple of really, really big sales, I would probably talk about that. You know, that's someone that says, hey, Billy just got 12 more hours on a car because he did a really good video. The customer called in and said how happy they were that they understood way more about what's going on with their car now than they ever had before. Then you use that and you know, control the narrative and the propaganda. And then I think that like anything, it's got to be exciting. It's got to be a cool thing that you guys are doing. And I would tell you that like, you know, I think kind of what Chris is saying is if you can't figure out how to do it without having the videos are not going to fix it. But at the end of the day, you know, for me as a consumer, I really like the end product when it all works well. Like I really like getting a video that shows my car and like what the brake measurements are. And like there's a value to that to me as an end consumer. And I can't be the only one that likes that. So just be consistent. And
honestly, I could care less about the video. Just tell me what it needs.
Yeah, so
it doesn't.
But that's a good example of two people that are totally different.
The only reason the video would serve a purpose is if you didn't trust us. So I get that a lot of people don't trust the industry. So the video is proof, right? Like it's like, hey, kind of like with instant inspection or whatever. It's like, hey, it's proof. Like here it is. This isn't us making it up, and so that part is good. But for me as a consumer, just tell me what it needs. Like,
so that's another part of it, right? Is a lot of those systems are built in with text. I love a text that says what I need and how much it is.
I don't want to watch a video. Like when they sent me the video that was the wrong video, I'm driving and she's like, oh, you got to watch this video. They want to know if you want to okay the work or whatever. I can't watch it while I'm driving. Then I have to sit somewhere and watch this freaking video that ends up being wrong. It's just a waste of my time.
Yeah, I get it.
Just tell me what it needs. Like I knew if the guy said I had a bunch of oil leaks or whatever was on the video, that he's looking at the wrong car.
Yeah, there's no way that your car has a lot of oil leaks.
What would be warranty?
Right. Yeah, they wouldn't be sending that to you. But yeah, good discussion. Nice rant.
I would say just in kind of closing this is we're hearing it more and more now. So the new how do I get my advisors to do walkarounds has turned into how do I get my techs to do video inspections? And that makes my point in a nutshell is if you weren't getting them to do them before with paper, it's you. Like, when did it become negotiable not to do inspections? Like, okay, now so you're tracking it and you see that they're not doing it, but they never were doing it.
Yeah, it didn't change the outcome.
Yeah, you still have to get your people to do the thing that they're supposed to do consistently. And the reporting helps you with that, but it's your leadership style that, well, how did it become negotiable? And what happens is we're more sensitive with the techs because they're in more demand. They, we don't want to upset them. And so you can't get the advisors to do it. You certainly aren't going to take that on, right? You're more scared of the shop than you are the drive. So when did it become negotiable is my question. Like when did these processes all of a sudden become left to chance?
If you feel like it. The customer deserves way more than that.
Well, it's way easier when you're doing paper, you're not tracking it. It's, out of sight, out of mind, right?
True.
So this is making it a little bit more in the forefront, but you got to understand that the same reason you weren't doing it before is the same reason we're not doing it now.
Yeah.
There's no magic pill. It isn't like everybody's going to be like, hey, we got those video inspections. Now we're all going to do a really good job. That just isn't how people work.
Yeah. If it's an excuse for you to become a stronger leader, I'm all in.
Great stuff. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Big news.
I'm excited.
And yeah, it's kind of fun.
Good stuff. Let's do it again sometime.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on Service Drive Revolution. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.